All right, this is another treat, I promise. I'm very excited to introduce to you another good friend, an incredible co-working mentor to many of us here in this room, Tony Bacigalupo.
Thank you, Ashley. How are we doing? We're having fun? I'm having fun. This is where I feel most at home, really. Not even at home. I mean, just hanging out with other co-working peeps. This is it. There's so much, what's the word, simpatico, right? In this room, there's just so much good energy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Juicy has upgraded its clickers. I'm very excited. Used to be looked like a detonator. Anyway, so I am focusing today on talking about something super important, which is just attracting great members. Let's make sure that we've got awesome members who are paying you so that you can stay in this business and do good work. Because otherwise somebody lame is going to do this instead. And we don't need lame people in this world. We need awesome people like you running these co-working spaces. It's so true. It's so true. There's so much lameness in the world just because awesome people don't step up and do awesome stuff instead. That's what happens. So don't settle for lame. Be awesome. Okay, so I ran this thing called New York City. It was a co-working space in New York. It was super fun. Fun little known fact, the woman who named New York City, a brilliant lady in my community, now works the Watson IBM TV commercials. So there you go, she's a smart lady. And we had a rad time. Actually, Slide, we had not just a pretty rad time, we had a really rad time. We did so much fun stuff. We had so many exciting experiences. It was totally bootstrapped. This was something we did starting in 2008. So I've been doing co-working stuff for a long time. And one of the things that we kind of had an advantage of back in 2008 was that just by being a co-working space, we attracted other people who wanted co-working. We were the only ones in New York, and so if we said, hey, we're a co-working space, somebody would say, oh my God, thank goodness, I needed one. And we could get away with just being the co-working space in New York. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of co-working spaces in New York. And so it doesn't mean the industry is saturated. The industry is actually totally not saturated. Steve King is right. Liz relayed that earlier. There are way, way, way more people who are sitting on the sidelines, and the reason they're sitting on the sidelines is because they don't need to rent office space. They still do need community. They still do need co-working. It's just that what's being sold to them right now is too expensive, and it's not really fulfilling their needs. So we're going to get into that. I jumped ahead a little bit. Co-working has changed. There are all these spaces right now, and the value of just renting workspace, it turns out it's really not that big of a deal to give people a spot where they can sit and be on the internet, right? Like that's not the thing that's really made this super exciting. And in New York and in many other cities, but particularly in New York, we're seeing an advent of free co-working space, sponsored by companies that have the resources to be able to pay for an entire workspace and not charge anything for it. That's Wix, Lululemon, Capital One has these beautiful lounges in prime real estate all over various cities. Cadillac Lounge, which is this crazy concept in New York. Amazon's getting into this. This is a Capital One lounge. These places are great. The Capital One I went to in Boulder has conference rooms. It has phone booths. I mean, these are great spaces to work in. $0, right? So the whole idea of just being able to get online, the value of that is approaching zero. Not to mention, okay, yeah, your product is some big company's marketing budget, right? If you're just selling space. And of course, you know, the guys out there with the mega bucks are starting to throw them around, and they're directly trying to go and poach other members. WeWork's got the poach coach now, right? And I really don't like giving attention to those guys because I want us to all focus on being awesome, but we have to at least acknowledge the fact that people are going to come after you and try to take your members. And if your members are just people who are coming in and they're putting on their headphones and they're not talking to anybody and they're going home and they don't really have any emotional connection to your space, they're going to be the first ones to leave when somebody comes along with a better offer. But that's not going to happen for you guys because you're not going to be lame. You're going to be the ones who are awesome. Yeah. Yes? Okay. We're going to talk about how we're going to get to that. I'm proud of my little Photoshop job. I just want to acknowledge. And again, the other thing, let's acknowledge that these things are happening. but at the same time, let's not give it any more attention than necessary. And this is true with all kinds of other lame, awful things that are happening in the world. Recognize that this stuff is happening, become aware of it, and then put it away and go focus on doing awesome stuff. Because it is so easy to sweat competitors. It's so easy to sweat the bad guys or whatever else is going on in the world. And if you get so distracted worrying about what the other guy's doing, they're gonna win. And we just can't worry about it. Focus on being you, being the awesomest version of you. I'm using the word awesome way too much in this talk, but that's okay. I'll live with that. And you will win. Nobody can beat you at being you. And being you is something that is going to make other people connect to you emotionally. So whatever that means for you, find that, seek that, play with that. I'll give you some examples of things that I've done and that I've seen that can give you kind of an idea, and you can totally copy the ideas that I've done, because I want you to, because I want you to succeed. Or you can come up with something that's a little bit more your flavor. So in order to have a sustainable co-working model, what we need to do is sell something more than just the workspace. The workspace can be the thing that you make money on, but selling that being the only thing is not necessarily going to be a compelling thing when lots of other people are doing it. So what you want to do is give people a reason to want to show up at your place. Why should they come to your place? So what you want to be able to answer is, why should I put up this is the answer to the question that's on the mind of your prospective members. Why should I put on pants tomorrow and go to your space? Because that's what's going to happen when you're somebody who works for yourself and it's cold outside, or you're feeling lazy, or whatever it is. You might really want to go check out that really cool co-working space, but yeah, I'm kind of busy, and maybe I'll put it off till next year. Right? That's what happens. I've had people who have told me they really want to come to my co-working space and they just can't get out of the house. And so what I see is that you want to be able to give people reasons to come in, and just come check out my co-working space isn't enough. Program-driven attractions are really what I think is going to change this, and it's because I've seen this in action. I've done this. I did this when I was having trouble getting people to come to my co-working space, because just being a co-working space wasn't good enough anymore. So how do you create this? You have to give people invitations. You have to give people reasons to come to your space. One of the challenging things when you're running a space is that it's basically the same every day. It's, come to my space tomorrow. Well, why should I? It's the same space. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's always the same. And what you don't want to do is just be playing defense, and you don't want to get disengaged in your own experience thinking, well, I'm just kind of walking into a place that's going to be the same every day. So you need to create special stuff. You need to give people a reason to show up on Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Why? Why is Tuesday at 12 o'clock really special? Why should I come in for that? So I'll get to some ideas for what those things could be in a moment. And then the other thing is that if you're trying to fill a big space, or if you don't have a big space yet, don't think of it in terms of really, really big problems. Big problems are hard to solve. So start with a small problem. If you have an empty space, or if you have a space that you need 100 members to get in, to get it to where you need to go, or if you don't have a space yet but you want to be able to get to that point, regardless, honestly, of where you are, start with a really small group. Start with 10 people. Actually, start with 2 people. Right? Get somebody to show up to a thing that's special to you on Tuesday at 12 o'clock. And then if the 2 of you have a good time, then maybe you can make it 5 of you. Now you've got another person who's excited, who can invite 2 or 3 other people, and it's a heck of a lot easier to get the next few. If you can get 10 people who really love a thing, they like each other, they trust it, they're bought into this idea, you've been able to do that, that effect can reverberate across a massive number of members. And I've done this in my own space in the program I'm going to tell you about in a minute. I should probably rearrange these slides. But the idea is that if you can get those kind of 10 people together, even within a space of people who are generally disengaged, which is what I found happened in my co-working space after a couple of years, those 10 super engaged people will start doing stuff that gets other people kind of, even if they're not super participatory, other members who are seeing that there's a buzz, seeing that there's stuff happening. And so if you can get those 10, I think unscientifically the ratio is 10 to 1. If you get 10, if you get one person for every one person you have super engaged, it affects 10. That's my unscientific thing. Karsten will confirm it at some point. And I think that what helps is if you can have a keystone event that in particular can be kind of spinning off other things that can get more events or more programs and more things going on. And I happen to have invented one that works really well for this, and you can totally copy it if you want to. It's called Codivation, as in collaborative motivation. Do I have a Codivation organizers in the audience? That's right, Angel's a Codivation. So, Codivation, oh, this is super important too. This isn't just a program that I came up with because I thought it would sell. This was something I needed for me. It was approaching the new year. I was struggling selling co-working memberships, and I was also dealing with the fact that I work for myself, and anyone who works for themselves has all kinds of things that they struggle with. And so I was thinking, I want to be able to make some New Year's resolutions and I want to keep them. How do I do that? I can create some accountability. And so I put out a thing and said, hey, who else wants to keep their resolutions? Let's get together, set some goals, and let's meet once a week to keep each other accountable to those goals. And by the way, let's talk about what kinds of challenges are coming up around reaching those goals. Of course, naturally, the people who show up to those things end up finding ways to collaborate with each other, they end up hiring each other, and they end up coming up with really cool ideas for other things that they can do in the space to help be more productive. One of the problems that we have with a lot of the programming, like WeWork tries to do lots of programming, but the problem is with WeWork and with a lot of other spaces, if you're trying to get people to participate in a thing, when you've already created this social perception that their relationship with your space is to just come in and work and leave, trying to get those people to break out of that loop and come participate when we're all too busy is really, really hard, and it's annoying. And there are actually spaces that are selling the feature of we're just going to leave you alone. We're not going to try to bug you like the community managers in other spaces. So you can't get in. It's true. So you can't get into that loop. You have to attract new members who come into your space specifically to join your Codivation group or whatever it is, so that their initial relationship is one of participation, and catch the existing members who are ready for this sort of thing. So you can get more information now on that website, and I sell stuff, but you can also just copy what I just told you. It's not that complicated. It's a weekly accountability group. And then I've got enough time to tell you about one other thing. It's simpler than Codivation. It's super effective. It's the easiest thing you can do, and I guarantee you it will make you money. And it is Taco Tuesday. Now, it doesn't, you do it? You do Taco Tuesday? Okay, so here's why Taco Tuesday is awesome, and it doesn't have to be tacos, it could be whatever your regional cuisine of choice is. I don't know what the Vancouver equivalent is of this. Is there one? I don't think there is. Salmon. 7 Sundays, there you go. So here's the thing about Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is a thing that members can do. Hey, $2 tacos, let's go to the taco joint and we'll all get $2 tacos. So that's the thing members can do. But that's also the thing that you can invite. Remember, we're creating invitations. You can invite prospective members to come and be a part of it. Co-working space tours, I'm going to say this now, co-working space tours suck. They suck, they're so bad. They're so bad. Hey, come check out my space. Look, we have a printer. Look, we have a conference room. Check it out. Okay, cool. I just toured 10 co-working spaces today. You know what I know about them? They all have printers. They all have conference rooms. Who cares? I don't care. Okay, it's cool. It's pretty. Now, what if instead I said, you know what? Come check out my space anytime. You want to walk in my door, I will show you around my space. But if you come on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, then I will show you my space, but then I will buy you tacos, and you can come hang out with my members too. It is awesome, because now that prospective member gets to know other current existing members, so now they're forming relationships, and they get a belly full of free tacos, which is $2 a piece, so you can probably work that into your marketing budget. And then they come out of that experience saying, well, I went to 10 co-working spaces today, and I know about 9 places that have really neat printers, and 1 place where I have a new friend that I want to hang out with later this week. Yes, you are going to win, and take that. All right, so you don't have to be awesome, I'm glad that worked. So you don't have to be a super organizer. A lot of people get, kind of, like the organizing stuff isn't their thing, you don't have to be super duper into this. You just got to be good enough to kind of get that first 10, that first group of people. If you haven't opened your space yet, then you can just start with that first handful of people, recruit them to help you, and they will, you know, they can pick up things and run with it from there. So I don't run a space anymore. I help other people build spaces, especially when they haven't launched them yet, but even if they're running them already. So that's what I do. I want to make it something that I can do full time. I'm well on my way to it, and so I would love for I'd love for you guys to be a part of that. I have an online network. You can learn about it at nwc.co, and I'm going to get a video session going with anybody who wants to from this. And that's my time, so that's all I got. Thank you so much for your time.